One of the most challenging parts of the major assignment experienced by students in the past is creating and using rubrics. It is with this in mind that I am sharing a few reminders to the team as you work on creating and using rubrics. As you begin the creation process, think of the most effective feedback you have ever received as a student. What made it effective for you? Did you feel that the teacher spoke directly to the assignment? Did you get enough feedback to identify where you went wrong? Was there any feed forward, ideas that would help you in future assignments? Keep these questions in the back of your mind as you continue the process of creating and using rubrics. The Growing Success 2010 document describes a rubric as a scale that uses brief statements based on the criteria provided in the achievement chart and expressed in language meaningful to students to describe the levels of achievement of a process, product, or performance. A rubric is a scoring tool that explicitly describes the instructor's performance expectations for an assignment or a piece of work. And the most important word for me in this description is expectations. Detailed description of expectations. And a rubric identifies three things: a criteria, descriptors, and the performance levels. Other sources describe a rubric as a tool for measuring whether or not the objectives of an assignment have been met. Rubrics are not a form of assessment, but are the criteria for marking an assessment. A rubric is a scoring tool that lists the criteria for a piece of work or what counts. What are you looking for? What are the expectations? What are the desired outcome? Think on these things as you think about creating your rubric. As we think about desired outcomes and expectations, let's examine why use rubrics. Number one, they are great tools for assessing student performances. Number two, explain to students why they earned the grades they earned. Number three, rubrics give specific feedback. Number four, hold the teacher accountable for the grades. Number five, help define quality. And number six, help students become more thoughtful judges of the quality of their own work. Rubrics also help with consistency and objectivity. Team developed rubrics is also a very great idea. There are times when I use students to assist in the development of the rubric, and that helps to set the purpose and give the students a better sense of the expectations of the assignment. It makes the objective clear. It discourages complaints about grades, and it reduces the time spent grading. It also helps the instructor to clearly identify strengths and weaknesses for an entire class. And of such, you can adjust your instruction based on the response, the performance, the outcome of using a rubric. There are two types of rubrics: numeric or scale rubric and qualitative scale rubric. Rubric gurus recommend having an even number of ratings on your scale, so you aren't tempted to circle the middle all the time. It is important that students understand what each rating means. What does a 5 look like? Those rates are connected to not just quantitative value, but also qualitative values, and this must be clear to the students. Use words along with the numbers to describe the ratings. For example, by proficiency, such as expert, consistent, emerging, novice, or frequency of performance, such as always, often, sometimes, rarely. Regardless of the term used, it is important that the students understand not only the definitions of the terms, but also what you mean when you describe their work in the terms that are used. Students need to be clear in measurable form what is expert, what is consistent, what is rare, what is always. So these terms are important, and these numbers and rates like 2 and 5 and 4 are important, but there must be a clear understanding of what each number, rate, or each qualitative terminology really means. 3 important aspects of the rubric. Criteria. How do we ensure that we establish the correct criteria? We do this by using the learning outcomes or learning objectives of the very assignment. Descriptors. What are we asking them to do? What is the intention of this assignment? How will we know they complete the actual assignment? These are all listed in your descriptors. Imply what you are looking for. What does a correct response looks like? And then we come to weight. Each part of the response is given a weight. It's given a value. The process is, number 1, determine the criteria that will be used to measure the quality of the performance. Number 2, determine what parts of the performance will be evaluated and how much weight will be given to each. And number 3, write descriptors for each level. Descriptors. Describe what each category looks like. Specify number of errors permitted or level of accuracy expected. This helps students to see what is expected and to make choices about how to budget their time and energy while working on the assignment. Here are a few examples and samples as we look at the descriptors, the indicators, the criteria, and we match those with the levels and the rate or the score. As you write your descriptors, ensure that the language that is used in the different column is similar and consistent. Example, if you are describing excellence, the term must go across the criteria and the description as well as the level of expected performance just across as you saw in the samples. Also, overall, the rubric is intended to guide instruction, encourage reflection, and assess the level of competency and skill of the student. If the language is ambiguous, the student will not be able to follow the instructions provided. Therefore, use language that the student can understand. Finally, consider these questions as you create your rubric. How clear it is. How easy is it to understand? How adequate is it? How relevant is it? How consistent are the levels?